Okay, welcome back. So this lecture is part two of the discussion of syllabus, and in this one I'm actually going to be talking about both the Design 1 syllabus and the Drawing 1 syllabus because they're similar and we're talking about similar issues. Um, and so if you're in both classes, you only have to watch this video once. So first thing I want to say, this is really just for the Design 1 class. When I talked about the Design 1 syllabus in the first part, I didn't have Canvas up at that point. So there was something I wanted to share with you, which is if you go to the Canvas site, you can see the syllabus here on the syllabus page, but if you want, you can also find under modules, you can find the starting documents for the first unit, starting documents, and you can find the syllabus both in a document form and a PDF form. PDF form is definitely easier if you're looking at it on your phone or on some other kind of device, whereas the document may be a more useful form for you if you're downloading it. And these other documents, go ahead and make sure that you print out those documents for the first day of class. I will have some printed documents for the first day of class, but obviously for COVID safety, it is safer if you print out documents yourself. So if you can, do it yourself. Okay, so the part of the syllabus that we're going to be covering for this lecture is just on the overall method of grading, the grading system, and the type of assignments. When we last left off, we were talking about course requirements. And the main point I want to make about course requirements is that if you come to class as much as possible, obviously noting that in this time of COVID-19, you know, attendance is going to be less of a priority, and we're going to have to adjust for that. But as long as you can coming to class, trying to get there on time as much as possible, and trying to do all your work, trying to get your stuff done, getting your work done, getting it to me on time, staying up with your work in the class. If you can do those things, then you will learn, and then you will do well. Um, my my grading system, before I get to the method of evaluation, I'm going to actually talk about how I calculate the final grade system. My grading system is an accumulative grading system. The joke I say every time is that it's really no longer a joke. Is that the main reason why I use an accumulative grading system is that because I'm pretty good at addition and I'm not so great at division. So with a cumulative grading system, everything just adds up to 1,000 points. And at the end of the course, however number of points you get kind of determines your final grade. So as you can see in this breakdown, an A plus is somewhere between 970 points and 1,000. One of the things you can see from this grading system is that it is already shifted in your favor, right? That like the cutoff point for getting an A minus is an 890, and the cutoff for getting a B minus is a 790, and a C minus for 690, right? Which means that, so basically you just have to get to an 89% to get to an A minus, or a 79% to get to a B minus. And then if you look at the assignments, right now we're looking at the design assignments, but this is true for the, almost everything I'm going to say is true for the drawing class as well. And we might switch and look at the drawing assignments as well. Yeah, we're on the design. And the main thing is that you can see that there are quite a few of them, but they're all worth pretty small points. One of the biases of a grading system like this, right, of a cumulative grading system with lots of small assignments, is that it's biased towards consistency, meaning that to get a good grade in the class overall, you have to not only do great work periodically, but you have to do good work most of the time, right? Then you have to stay up with everything and you have to do all of your assignments. And the reason why I'm biased towards that is because I strongly believe in the idea of practice. I believe the more you practice, whether it's design or drawing, the better you're going to get. So if you, so by designing it so that, keeping up with all of these assignments ensures that you are constantly practicing your design and your drawing, and that assures your learning. Students in art classes tend to think it's all about making one brilliant project, and we certainly have opportunities where you can make one brilliant project that might blow me away and shift your grade a certain amount. But the way I design my grading point system, one amazing project will not make a difference if you've missed half of the other assignments. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So you can see all of these assignments. Now, one thing that both classes have in common is they both have a midterm portfolio review and a final portfolio review. That's at midterm that you turn in a selection of all the work that you've done. And then at the end, you also turn in a selection of all the work that you've done. And then I grade it as a whole. Okay. Another thing that they both have in common is independent projects. We'll be talking a little bit more about those in a separate lecture, but the main thing I'll say right now about that is the independent projects are assignments that are built into the class that are pretty much completely free. They have some restraints on them, but they are a chance for you to do work that is very much your own and not bound by the general learning goals of either the design class or the drawing class. And so this is in a way a chance for you to kind of to shine, to show to me what is the kind of things you really do well at, but it's also a chance for you to start the hard process of figuring out who you're going to be as an artist and as a designer. Okay, so let's get to method evaluation because we have about 3 minutes left. And in terms of the method of evaluations, my basic point of view is if you meet minimum, you're going to get 70%. If you are, better than minimum, if you're good, right, then you should be able to get a grade of 80%. And to get a grade of 90%, you have to be excellent in at least some aspects. Now, I list the categories that I'm looking at. Following and completing the assignments is a really important one. Craft, effort, but also 4 is really important. Demonstration that you understand the assignment and understand the principles behind the assignment. And if you meet the minimum on those, right, then a grade of 70% or 75% is not that hard to achieve. But to get an 80%, you have to be, you have to meet the minimum, but also be good or slightly better in at least some of those categories. And to get a grade of 90%, you have to be, you have to meet minimum, but you also have to be excellent in at least some of these categories. Okay, and so because of that, because that's the way I view grading, I feel like it's not that hard for a student to pass a class with a C. You just have to be willing to be diligent and to work hard. But it is more difficult to get an A, and it's extremely difficult to get an A of over 95%. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I would say like every semester I have at least 1 or 2 students who get an A out of any of my studio classes. And I would also say that at least, I don't know, in the last couple of years of drawing one, I've had a student, for the last 3 years of drawing one, I've had a student get an A of over 95% each time. But that can be more rare. A lot of it just depends on how willing someone is to work. Okay. I have about a minute left, so I'm going to talk about attendance as well. So the attendance policy for both classes, hold on a second. Do we have the wrong attendance? We do have the wrong attendance policy on Canvas. I'll have to adjust that. Let me pull up the Word document. The attendance policy is COVID related. We have changed the attendance policy because of COVID, right? Since we want someone, we're running out of time. I'll talk a little bit more about this in the next section, but the main point I want to get across is that there will be no strict attendance policy, but we will still be paying attention to whether you're coming to class regularly. Okay, I will speak to you in the next section.